Servicing the Royal Belly by Blissy One. Told by Princess Celestia.
You trotted down the halls of Canterlot Castle, an eager, excited bounce in your step. You had been summoned to Princess Celestia's bedchambers, which could only mean one thing: it was time for you to perform your duties. You were the royal belly rubber, responsible for physically aiding the voracious Princess of Equestria in digesting her massive meals. You finally approached those huge, familiar doors leading to her room, and gave a knock. She immediately responded, asking you to come in. Something in her voice fills you with anticipation, and you open the doors and step inside. Your eyes and smile widen to take up all of your face as you see her sitting at the foot of her bed, looking at you expectantly. Her gut was absolutely massive. As you eagerly trotted over to her, you saw that it was actually moving as well, bulges frequently appearing against her flesh. Your smile somehow grew even wider. She had had some live meals this time. It wasn't often that she ate other ponies whole and alive, but these were always your absolute favorite nights. When you finally reach that massive white orb of flesh, Celestia greets you and tells you that she's really going to need your help tonight. Your only response is to rear up and throw your body into that magnificently huge soft gut, trying to wrap your hooves around her in a tight hug. Celestia gives a startled but pleased yelp. Then a moment later her cheeks puff out, and she lets out a loud, wet belch. A few red feathers and some fur flying out of her mouth. You nuzzle your face against her huge belly as you also hug and squeeze it, trying to get a feel for the ponies inside. You look up at her over the swell of her stomach, and ask her how many she ate this time, but her response is to give a mischievous smile, and tell you that you'll just have to give her stomach a good feel and guess. That's perfectly okay with you. You go back to caressing her huge, warm, gurgly belly, pressing your body into it, rubbing with your hooves, and forcefully nuzzling your face against it. Every time a hoofprint or other bulge appears in her belly, you quickly push it back down. Princess Celestia leans her head back and closes her eyes, then does something very few ponies know that she's capable of. She starts purring. To your ears, it's one of the most magical sounds in all of Equestria, and you could not possibly be happier to be the one causing her to make it. Her purring is suddenly interrupted by another massive, wet burp. You look up just in time to see a half-digested hair ribbon come flying out of her mouth and land on the floor. Every burp lets more air out of her gut, making it press and tighter around the ponies inside, allowing you to feel them more clearly. It also slows down the struggles of those inside, much to your disappointment. You notice an imprint of a pony's face clearly visible against her massive, noisy thigh, and lean over to give it a lick. You suddenly feel Celestia's magic grip your head, and she pushes you muzzle first against that face bulge, just as the pony making the bulge pushes outwards further against her belly, putting you both muzzle to muzzle. A blush overtakes your face. She just made you kiss somebody through her stomach. You look up at her face and see she's smiling down at you, a giggle barely contained behind her lips. Your surprised look turns into a smile, and you start to laugh, causing her to let out her own laughter as well. Her laughter is interrupted by another wet belch, causing her belly to pull in ever tighter, further restricting the struggles of those within. Celeste notices the disappointed look on your face and tells you that she can make this go on a bit longer, but only if you let her do something with you later. While you certainly can't wait to see how fab this meal is going to make Celestia, you also never want this moment to end. Your face lights up, and you eagerly nod your head. Anything is worth prolonging this experience a little longer. Celestia smiles back at you, before lifting her head up and opening her mouth wide, somehow inhaling a bunch of air directly into her stomach. Her big, gurgly belly noticeably blows out more, and the struggles of the ponies within resume, much to your delight. You throw yourself into her go with renewed intensity, rubbing your entire body against that massive, fuzzy white orb, hugging and squeezing it as hard as you can, and now even looking at it regularly too. Celestia gives off a delighted moan and starts making the purring noise again as she leans back to enjoy your ministrations. You notice a hoofprint sticking out from her gut, and on impulse you open your mouth wide and start suckling on it. Her surprised, delighted gasp is music to your ears. Your mouth and tongue almost never leave her belly as you continue lavishing attention on her sloshing, struggling stomach. You continue on in this way for a few minutes, when Celestia looks down at you to compliment you on what a fantastic job you're doing, but laments that it won't last much longer. Her words temporarily turn your thoughts away from that gloriously stuffed belly of her to the final fate of those ponies within, to become a part of a goddess. An image of Celestia, belly shrunken but entire body now thick and plump with pony fat, shot to the forefront of your thoughts. You almost envied those ponies in her god. Surely this would be how you would want to die, if you had a choice. You spread your hooves out as wide as you could, and wrapped them around Celestia's gut in an attempt to give a massive hug to the ponies within, a way of showing your gratefulness for their sacrifice. This drew a barely contained herp from Celestia, who then pulled you off of her belly with her magic. She brought you up face to face with her, and reminded you of that favor you owed her for making their struggles go on longer. Before you can respond, her mouth opens wide, and she lets out the most massive belch, yet right into your face. You close your eyes as you feel drops of saliva and bits of fur and feather hitting your face, but still you maintain a smile. Anything that makes Celestia happy makes you happy as well. The huge wet belch seems to go on until finally something large and wet slaps against your face, completely covering it and preventing you from breathing. You panic for only a moment before the tremendous burp finally ends and you feel her magic remove the object on your face. You open your eyes and see that it was a tattered shirt that had been thrown from her mouth. Celestia, apparently not having expected that part, starts giggling, and you quickly join her. Celestia sets you back down atop her god, the ponies within hardly moving at all now. She had burped up all the remaining air in her stomach, and it was now pressed tight against those within. As you go back to your rubbing and caressing, she starts letting out a series of smaller, much more acrid-smelling burps. The glorping and sloshing of her belly becomes louder and more frequent, and the ponies within stop moving entirely. You know exactly what this means. You feel about for large solid form within her god, and give it a solid push. Sure enough, the solid form gives way beneath her hoof with a very loud slowish. Digestion has finally started in earnest. This is by far your favorite part. There is nothing in all of Equestria you love more than getting to feel that massive white sloshy belly get rounder and softer. You lose yourself in that heavenly mound of flesh, caressing, kneading, squeezing, and hissing it. You try pushing your hooves and even your face into her softening belly, taking no small amount of delight in seeing how deep you can get. A small part of your mind is aware of someone calling your name, but you pay it no mind. Celestia's belly is the only thing that matters right now. That belly suddenly rolls forward, taking you with it, and squishing you against the floor. Finally broken out of your stupor, you look up to see Celestia looking back down at you with a knowing look on her face. You realize it had been her trying to get your attention, and give a sheepish smile back. She tells you that it's time for her to get some sleep, and you only now notice that you two are extremely fatigued from all the attention you have been lavishing on her. Celestia holds you against her belly with her magic as she sits back up then falls back onto her bed. You're now lying entirely atop her massive, soft, noisy god. She smiles up at you and tells you that you should get some sleep as well. That's something you're more than happy to do, since you're currently lying on what is certainly the single best bed in all of Equestria. You snuggle it in her warm, soft, squishy belly as Celestia uses her magic to pull a blanket over the both of you. Your last thoughts as the sounds of her gurgling belly lull you to sleep are of how big and plump Celestia will be in the morning once she's done processing her meal. You fall asleep with a smile on your face knowing that you'll have something delightful to wake up to.
That's all, Zipsters! Like and subscribe.